So now we're going to take a look at the what I teach in the repertoire section. Now the repertoire section is your songs. So it's going to be learning famous songs in the rock, heavy rock genre, covering sort of everything from sort of punk rock, indie rock, blues rock, and then you're moving into heavier styles, sort of heavy rock, and then into your heavy metal and, you know, thrash and etc, etc. And some of the songs we'll be taking a look at, like the first song you're going to be taking a look at will be part of a set of songs that I'm going to be using. So you'll be learning 40 songs in different phases. So there'll be a phase 1 all the way up to phase 4, and they're going to increase in difficulty and obviously level. So your skill level will be worked on. So the first one we will take a look at will be something like Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. Now that's got a great section in it, which is the solo, which is a really good one for working on your octave playing and also your left hand muting. So I'm just going to play you a snippet of that. Here we go. 3, 4. So that was the octave solo for Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. And a lot of people struggle with that, surprisingly enough. Even people who've been playing a long time, or when I've made students go back to something, say, have you ever tried that song before? And they do struggle with that because it's left hand muting they might not have fully mastered or worked on. So it's a really good one to sort of, you know, it's got nice different components in the song. And then it's got those odd little things, twists, that you can throw in the mix and you go, you know, that's something you need to work on, so it's a cool thing. And all your muting is basically in the first finger, the index finger. So we're muting the 6th string with the tip of our index. We're muting the D string with our middle finger, our index finger, and then the other two, which would be the B and the E. So they're the open B and the open E. So. And another common thing is people find that they tend to sometimes play it with the wrist or try to play it with the wrist. So like when we're playing a power chord, we're just doing everything from the wrist action, where they find sometimes to get that speed, they can't do that with just doing the wrist. So this is where I always encourage them to try and do it strumming. Hence why we need to do the muting, which is where that comes in handy. So that's a great thing to learn. It's a good thing to sort of get you into where you are and just checking any little things from your sort of beginner to sort of phases, just to see if you've got some of these things all sort of ironed out before you start moving on to some harder songs. Now for some of you who've been playing a little bit longer, want a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to then be moving into the heavier styles as we go through these 40 songs. Another example, it's going to give you quite a lot to think about, is this very, very cool classic. So there you have the classic Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne and Randy Rhoads. That's going to give you a lot of things to have a look at, especially your shapes as well. Working on your triad shapes will be something we'll be looking at in your technique section. And also pedaling off a note, which is a classic thing that happens in metal hell of a lot, I should say. It's all pedaling off the open A string. Now that causes a few problems for people. It's a very different style to some of the sort of more modern metal stuff now that's coming around, but it's all been influenced before. All these guitar players have been influenced by people before them, so we can take a lot from that. And also the other aspects of playing rhythm and then lead parts as well. So there's another great song to have a look at, and that's going to be further on in your more advanced set of songs you're going to be learning from. So then we're not just going to learn full songs, which, I mean, learning full songs is a good thing to do. It's going to be good for working on your levels and your confidence levels as well. And it's good discipline because you're learning something note for note and making sure you can, if you need to, for functions or whatever that might be. Although I doubt you're going to get called for functions on these kind of songs. But nonetheless, you're learning how to learn a song note for note. The other side of it is learning sections of songs. So rather than us trying to learn thousands and thousands of songs, we're just never going to know them all. And I don't know them all. We're going to learn the more important parts of the song. We can see how they've used it, their scales in solos, in bridges, and how they've created riffs. So here's a section of an Yngwie Malmsteen song called I'll See the Light Tonight, which is great for showing you how you can sequence scales. All right, so here we go. Okay, that's quite a toughie, that is. It wasn't full speed. But what you can take from that, even if you don't play something full speed, or you find you think, I'm never ever going to get that, and it just takes practice and practice, is you can still study things like that. So we can take something very slowly like that, and we can study it bit by bit and take a look at how he's used his scales and how he sequenced things. So you can still learn from something, even if you can't play it full speed, or you can't play it as good as Yngwie does. I mean, he's amazing anyway, so you're going to have to practice a hell of a lot if you want to get like that, but it's not impossible. You can get that good. Another thing we're going to take a look at in the repertoire section, we'll be taking a look at full solos as well. So we'll just study the solo, we'll break it down and do it slowly, and then we can work on, once you've learnt the solo, which is another great thing for working on your technique, then we can also then take a look at how they've used scales and how they've mixed and matched things and created their own licks, and then we can then take ideas from that and then create our own licks. So here's the actual main solo to Shook Me. Just give you an example of what we can do here and how we can study stuff from this. Here we go. So there is a great example of how you can start using your minor pentatonic shapes and then start mixing with the major pentatonic shapes. It's a really cool thing to do, and it gives you a nice sort of option of changing the mood from minor, sort of quite a sad mood, to a happy sort of sound. Loads of great licks in that kind of solo, and there's tons more solos we can take a look at and learn, which we will do. I hope that just gives you an insight into what I do and how I sort of teach you the repertoire section, and I hope it was a little bit inspiring as well, and got you to sort of pick up the old guitar and give these things a bit of a go. So I hope to see you soon. Take care.